You brought up a good point, organizational health. Give me a sense of that. What's, I mean, that involves culture. It involves, picking the right team, having the right team. For you as a leader who's responsible for the entire organization and up to the board as well, what guides you in your decisions around organizational health?
Yeah, it's kind of a holistic question, I guess, and it does impact from the board right through the organization. I would say that it's not something that is addressed quickly or easily either. Like it can take a few years to course correct if there's issues. I always start when I join a new organization with a sort of posture that the entire team is there because they love the mission. And if there's gaps or issues, then it's training, resources, mentoring, coaching. There's something, and it usually is leadership first is the issue. For me, it kind of boils down to a few things. You mentioned team. You do have to have really smart people on your team. You've heard the saying, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you at their jobs, and they'll make you look really good. And so I think one of the core issues of a healthy organization starts at the top. The leader cannot make the organization about the leader, right? So leadership ego is probably the number one killer of organizational health. A very strong, determined, directed type A leader can move an organization fairly far. But if ego is the center of all of that, then it's not sustainable because it doesn't build resiliency and agency in the team. So I would say the organization can only get as far as the leader, but if you find a way to surround yourself with a really smart team and release them to do great work, then suddenly, the multiplicative impact of that is like rocket fuel for the organization. Then it gets down to other things. So you've got, say, smart, competent people in the various roles. Silos are brutal. So like really diagnosing how teams work and departments work together to achieve the collective results. Like we're kind of four or five different departments. We got marketing communications, we got private fundraising, we got programs, business development, finance, and admin. And it would seem like they could all just kind of work in like islands unto themselves, but that's not true. They're interdependent. And rather than getting into sort of turf wars about who's responsible for water, who owns water, who gets the credit for something, the collaboration between those teams. And sometimes it comes down to really basic stuff. Like, in our case, the program department is responsible for the partnerships in the field and what we're doing out there.
Yeah.
Well, they are the ones translating that into proposals that then our fundraisers would take out to donors. And then after money has come in, 6 months later, a year later, you want to report back. But those reports are also coming from the program team, but they're absolutely vital for the fundraisers to be able to communicate to the donors, what we would like your money for and what we have done with your money. And then marketing kind of gets in the middle of all that because, you want to make the documents look good. So everybody has to kind of be on the same kind of engine, right? So inter-team collaboration is important. And if you get personality conflict type issues between teams where there's toxicity or something like that, that's kind of throwing a wrench behind the scenes, it can just sabotage health. And so it's just finding ways, coaching ways through that. Often it's really innocent reasons why those are happening, but if you're not paying attention to it. And so I would say it's competence, interpersonal health, and then its underlying systems, so you need to invest in whatever you need to invest in to provide the kind of the foundation, whether it's a CRM tool, financial software packages, just the kind of hidden behind the scene things that can help. And those take time to tweak and to optimize, and you're constantly investing in it. But organizational health is people and systems kind of all aiming in the same direction with a really clear sense of where we're going. And then in the midst of all that, there's lots of celebration, and you can feel it. Like culture ultimately becomes something